So I'm back and I've created a bit of a dashboard here that's fairly similar to what we ended up with last time, but I formatted it a little bit more to, have some more color and yeah, I have some more filters up here so I can slice my data the way that I want it. For example, I can make sure that I only filter on followers and check what that looks like. And then I can realize that, oh hey, there's only one user who's a follower, but it says I have 24 audience members. Then what's that all about? Well, I mean, it probably makes sense if I go to this chart here and click on the y-axis and instead choose account, then I can see that this one user has downloaded quite a lot anyway. They have 6 downloads some days, up to a maximum of 25 downloads a single day. And then it seems I have 23 audience members who are just following my brand because maybe they like what I do, or maybe they don't, I'm not sure. But at least I can get these kinds of insights that, I have a following on BIMobject, even though they don't download my products, they still know that I'm around. So I can choose that kind of filtering. If I had more than one country here, then I could filter on a region, but now all of my test data is in Sweden. But I can also choose to filter on dates. So maybe I just want to look at 2022, or maybe I'm more interested in seeing how 2023 is looking for me by just choosing that like that. And again, if I'm interested in my downloaders by occupation, then I have a graph for that down here. Or maybe I'm really interested in this blue car thingy that I've clicked on before, and I want to see how this distributes across the different occupations that exist on BIMobject. And I can see a fairly uniform distribution, probably no matter what I pick here, since it is test data after all. So it's slightly closer to architects here on the student side when we choose red car, but still. So this is, again, just one example of a dashboard that you could create. But I wanted to create a slightly more interesting example maybe, and maybe closer to real life than if you wanted to follow up on, for example, your campaign performance. You do have email campaigns data when you export using the advanced export as well. So I'll just switch over to the campaigns tab here, and you'll see that I have, again, some test data with just dummy names and dummy companies, but still. And I've just created some KPIs up here showing the number of emails that I've delivered or sent via our email campaigns tool, the number of opened emails, and the number of clicked emails. And I have this split up into 2 campaigns where the first one consisted of 29 emails, the second one consisted of 41 emails. And I could choose to just filter on the people who clicked on my email links, and I can see that there are 6 users here, users 146, 16, 307, and so on and so forth. And they're stemming from a certain number of companies here. And what I wanted to illustrate with this is that you can create kind of a funnel here to see which ones are your most interesting companies to start thinking about, because at BIMobject we do encourage account-based marketing rather than reaching out to individual users in most cases. If that makes sense for you, then that's your use case. But here we're going to take an account-based approach and just explore the users that are in each of these cases. So I can see, for example, if I create this visualization with companies and the number of unique downloaders from each company, I can see there are 2 companies where I have 14 downloaders, one with 13, and so on. And maybe this indicates some kind of centralized interest, like maybe company 37 has some particular interest in me that's really cool. But I can see that if I filter on this, I haven't really targeted them with any emails. I don't have any more data as such. If I go to company number 9, however, I can see that I have actually targeted them with 4 emails. They've opened 4 emails, which is a pretty good open rate. So maybe they, resonate with my brand or whatever it may be. And particularly, they've clicked through on 2 emails. So there's a click rate here of 50%, which is, again, pretty good. But then it's a sample size of 4. But still, the point I want to illustrate here is that you can quite quickly dig down into the users that are interesting or might be interesting for you to check out further. What are these people doing? Do they have some kind of project control or governance? Like, are they in decision maker roles? And there's a fairly simple way that we could figure out, if you're not using third-party services to figure out where users are from, then I will just create a super quick calculated column. So I'll create that using this, go to data, and then on audience, I will click on this table, and then I'll go to table tools, and I will create a new column. This takes a little bit of time to load, And once I'm in here, what I want to do is to create a new kind of column, and I'll basically make this a LinkedIn search string. So what I want to do here is to use the basic formatting of a LinkedIn search, which is the LinkedIn.com and search results and people, and then you end up with this keywords here at the end, and I'll just put that in quotation marks, and then I'll use the name column of my audience table, and then I will also use my company one here as well. And that should leave me with a string that is basically a LinkedIn search with the person's name and the company all in one single string. And if you want to add some formatting of spaces and whatnot, then you could also just add these spaces like this, and you'll concatenate the strings as such. And that's basically me done, and I'll call this LinkedIn, and I'll click enter. And when I do, you can see that I get this search string like this. Cool. And if I now go back, then you'll see that this new column, LinkedIn, exists here in my audience table. So I want to make sure to add that in my table here. And you can see now that they are inserted here. I can actually do one final thing because you need to paste this in here, but I want to be able to just click on this and it takes me to LinkedIn search right away for maximum efficiency. So you'll go to the data tab again, you'll click on LinkedIn column, and then there's going to be a data category option here which says uncategorized. You could just make this a web URL, and that's that more or less. If we go back now, you'll see that there is a LinkedIn search. If I were to click on this, it would bring me into my default web browser with this LinkedIn search in my bar already. And that's more or less this example. You could do some other things as well, like instead of having the number of emails open, maybe I want to understand the open rate, and then you could do that by going down to the opened down here, clicking on the 3 dots to the side, and then create a new measure. And this makes you able to write a formula instead. You could say that this is called percentage opened, and this equals the number of opened emails divided by the number of delivered emails, like so. And we'll just create that. And once that's finished loading, then we could see if that calculates correctly. 49 out of 70. Well, yeah, that's about a 70% open rate. So again, this is up to preference, but you could do all kinds of things here. But that is our very simple example of a dashboard created in Power BI and an email campaigns funnel to figure out who to search for and who to get in touch with, who is interested in your products.